I'm gonna be dehydrating some strawberries today. They're probably my favorite thing to dehydrate. They turn out just spectacular. They're sweet, they're a little bit chewy, and they're a great healthy treat because there's nothing added. It's literally just strawberries. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. And so what you're looking at here is the biggest, best strawberries we had. We picked 30 pounds of strawberries yesterday. I have strawberry stained fingers from it. I've been going through them. We froze most of them, but as I was processing them, I pulled out the biggest, best, most beautifully shaped berries to save for dehydrating because I love when they're dehydrated into slices and they're really big. They just feel a little bit extra special. The first thing we're gonna do is remove the strawberry tops. Now there's a lot of ways to do this. You can use a knife, you can use one of those little strawberry top removers, but my favorite tool is just my hands. I think it's the fastest and probably the easiest. And so here's how I do it. I grab the strawberry by the stem pretty tightly right where it connects to the strawberry and I pinch it. And I almost push a little bit into the strawberry as I twist it and turn it. And it pops right off, and look at that, it doesn't waste any strawberry at all. Next, we're gonna slice them, and I like my dehydrated pieces to be really flat and uniform. I think they're funner to eat. They also dehydrate quicker. So I'm gonna start by slicing off the nubbin, rounded end of each side of the strawberry. And now I'm left with this really lovely little brick, and I can decide how many pieces to cut this into. Now these are pretty big strawberries. Most of these I'm cutting into 3 slices. If your strawberries are bigger, you might be able to get 4. If they're smaller, maybe you can only get 2 slices. They're about 1/4 inch thick, I think is kind of the perfect thickness. Which direction to cut them is up to you. I like the biggest pieces possible, so I'm gonna cut them this way. That way I'll get this really lovely, almost heart-shaped slice. You could cut them this way, you'll get more slices, but they'll be smaller. I don't prefer that. You can also cut them from the top down. They'll be a little bit more rounded. That's also kind of fun, but I really, really like when they are, when you preserve the shape of the strawberry like this. Next, I'm gonna put these on the trays. It's probably the most tedious part of making these. And I like to work in smaller batches. So instead of cutting up my entire bowl of strawberries all at once, I cut up only 1 or 2 trays worth at a time so that I can get these in the dehydrator as quickly as possible. That's gonna make the best quality dehydrated strawberries. And when you're lining them up, they can be touching, that's fine. Just make sure they're not overlapping. You're probably wondering, what do you do with all of these little pieces? Certainly you don't want them to go to waste. You can eat them. They actually are perfect for making a strawberry shortcake if you have a lot of them. Otherwise, you can dehydrate these as well. They'll just be little pieces. Just spread them out on your dehydrator trays and dehydrate them along with the rest of your slices. The strawberries are all tucked into the dehydrator. I find that the slices take anywhere from like 5 to 8 hours, maybe a couple more depending on how thick they're sliced and how humid it is that day. As with anything dehydrated, it just kind of takes how long it takes, you know? So I start checking on them to see if they're dry around the 5, 6, 7 hour mark. And this is an Excalibur Dehydrator. I absolutely love it. I've had this machine for going on 10 years. This is the cover here. I've had it for 10 years. It's a workhorse. It does an amazing job. It has different temperature settings. And I always do fruit on the fruit setting, of course, which is around 125 degrees. And this little extra heat compared to something like a raw setting will help deactivate the enzymes found in fruits and vegetables, and it will help them last a really long time after they're dehydrated. It's the next morning. My strawberries are done. They look so fantastic, and I can tell they're done because they look flat as pancakes on these trays. They are crispy, they are dry, they are not mushy, and they're not gooey at all. And so here's the thing that always happens when I'm dehydrating, it seems like anything, is that these took right around 8 hours, maybe a little bit more. and they weren't quite done by the time that I was wanting to go to bed. So what I usually do in that case is I just leave the dehydrator on overnight. I usually turn it down a little bit and let them keep going throughout the night. That way they're sure to be done, because you'd rather over dehydrate these than under. One of the benefits of having an Excalibur dehydrator is that it has these flexible mats that sit on top of rigid trays, as opposed to some of the round type dehydrators that only have rigid trays that you put the food directly on. And so what I'm able to do is lift this up and flex it to easily get all the strawberries off. Otherwise, it can be a little bit more difficult. If they're stuck to rigid trays, you have to pry up each one and look at, they're prone to breaking, where I just think this is so easy and so handy to be able to flex this and basically watch them fall off. It's actually pretty satisfying. Once these come out of the dehydrator, get them into something airtight immediately. I like a mason jar. They do a really good job of keeping the oxygen out and keeping these crispy for a long time. These are one of my favorite treats to eat in the depths of winter because they're so bright and so cheery, and they just taste like a summertime. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you did find this video helpful, I would love it if you could give it a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you are the first to know whenever a new video is posted.